How's it going, YouTube? It's your resident Mistweaver monk, LB Ninja 7 here, and today I have a video about the Mistweaver buffs that were actually implemented at the beginning of this reset. So we've had about roughly a full week of the new buffed Mistweaver, and I just want to make a video about that and talk about how the changes have felt. Make a really quick video, but before we jump into it, I do quickly want to touch on my last video. Some of you saw it, and I'm sure you thought it was very hyperbolic, very dramatic, and it was. I mean, honestly, it was. It's if you haven't seen it, Blizzard has ruined this spec, and it's all about how they are kind of ignoring the changes to Mistweaver and how we're kind of dying. Oh, what's that? My subscriber count? Yeah, let's go ahead and push that to 1,000, guys. Hit subscribe. But yeah, it was hyperbolic. You kind of have to be. I mean, we play such a small spec. You look at all the hunter players or all the rogue players or demon hunter players, and they say one thing is wrong and it gets fixed within like a couple patches. But us Mistweavers, like, we're few and far between. This might just be the 798 of us, you know, but it's just, we have to be loud, and they were listening, and you guys commenting, and hopefully me making that stupid video, hopefully it worked, and it's the reason why we are getting all these buffs. But it has felt so good playing Mistweaver this week, and I hope that we made a difference. So I'll leave that video up, even though it's like stupid and outdated at this point. I'm still getting comments that like, what, we're so good now, but yeah, we are. So yeah, so all of our healing increased by 5%. Think about all the hots that we have out. This is just, it's nice. I mean, it literally translates to a 5% healing buff on the overall charts, but with all the synergies, that should be pushed up a little bit more than just 5%, seeing how it can scale. So that's good, that's great, especially with all the, every week we're getting new substats and being able to push that haste a little higher so that we can get more enveloping mist out. This will scale a little bit more than 5% of what we're at right now. So hopefully that makes sense. Then Vivify healing increased by an additional 5%. So this is tacked on top of this 5% buff. So what does that translate to? It is about a 1.1025 buff. So a 5% buff on top of a 5% buff. So we are getting a little better than a 10% buff to Vivify overall, which is great, especially since we can cleave that Vivify with all the enveloping mist targets, or renewing mist targets, I'm sorry, and especially since we have that instant Vivify every 10 seconds. That feels really good. I don't know if you've been playing, if you've done any keys lately, but this feels great. Vivify actually moves health bars. It moves health bars. It works. It does what it's supposed to. It is that button that we can press to top everyone up in an instant. And then we come to our damage rotation actually got buffed. So I'm sure you guys have heard me and other Mistweaver players crying about how the 2.5 times damage into healing Ancient Teachings back in Shadowlands becoming 1.5 times in Dragonflight has felt really bad. So you know what? I actually really commend them and like that they're changing it like this. So instead of just reverting it, or instead of tweaking the 1.5 times our damage into healing number, instead of changing that number, they're just straight buffing the damage. So this will also affect that healing number. I really like it. I think this is a very unique way to do it and a very good way to do it. So kudos to them. So it is a Blackout Kick damage buff increased by 6%. Notice this is a lot lower because Blackout Kick feels good. I mean, it really does with those cleave Blackout Kicks. A lot of times Blackout Kick was feeling like our only good button to press. So doing 6% more damage, this will do 9% more healing basically, because it's doing 1.5 times the damage as healing. So that's really cool. It's still not the 50% more healing, but that's fine as long if you can balance out the less healing with more damage. I'm fine with that, you know, I'll take it. So Blackout Kick 6%, Rising Sun Kick 8%. Very good. I think Rising Sun Kick needs to get its identity back as being our only like hard hitting, like big number button. So I think that's good. I'm glad they're buffing it, and I could see it going a little stronger, but for now it feels good. Like this actually does help. I mean, it's a 12% healing buff to what it was before, and an 8% damage. It's getting back to the point where I can actually notice when I press it. Like it doesn't just feel like a Blackout Kick, which maybe I'm being dramatic in that. Maybe you guys have felt differently, but Rising Sun Kick, it used to just top up one person. You could see it, just like their health bar jump. But now, whenever I press it, I'm like looking at the health bars, like, who did that hit? So that's a great change. I'm glad they need to keep buffing that. But for now, it's in a great spot. I mean, we are in a good spot now. I don't want to sound bad because these are all great changes. Tiger Palm damage increased by 15%, which is really cool because, you know, every time we press Tiger Palm, if we're on that Fey line, we get 2. So it will be buffing our overall. If you look at the details meter, the Tiger Palm damage will just be buffed by 15% if you press the same amount and get the same amount of crits. But, you know, in a way, it's like a 30% damage increase because we're getting 2 per every press. So that's really cool. And it's just this little single target rotation is going to feel really nice. And we're going to gain that back in Raid. I mean, the other healer specs have started to catch up with us in raid damage. Our single target damage is kind of what we had going for us, and now we're hopefully going to gain that identity back with this. So next up, let's look at spinning crane kick. So we're actually getting 2 spinning crane kick buffs. First off, the overall damage 5%. That's great. I've kind of noticed when there's like 4 or 5 targets, it's still more damage just to sit there and do your blackout kick rotation, like Tiger Palm, blackout kick, Tiger Palm, blackout kick. Just because those hit for about 12k and you get like 9 of them per hit if you cycle that, and if you're on a Fey line, it does more damage than spinning crane kick. But now that they keep buffing this, soon that number of adds, the number of enemies that you have to be hitting will start to decrease for it to be worth it to press spinning crane kick, if that makes sense. So right now it's about like 5 or 6 ads somewhere. I haven't really done the math, but I've just felt it out and like kind of watched meters. But right now when there's like 5 or 6 ads, it's still kind of just worth it to hit your blackout kick rotation. But now maybe this will bring it back down to where it's like if there's 6+ ads, spinning crane kick is the best. So that's really good. I really like that. I want it to gain its identity back as our AoE damage. But blackout kick still getting buffed is nice. I like that. So I'm glad that this is happening. Also, we are getting another tweak to that healing number. So Awakened Phalanx now transfers 70% of spinning crane kick's damage into healing, and that was 60%. And a couple weeks ago, it was 50%. So now, if I spinning crane kick, it's going to be healing 3 targets for 70% of the damage. So whatever damage we're doing with each tick of spinning crane kick, we're going to be healing the team for 210% of that healing. So this is really good. I mean, like, if you look at bosses like the tree boss on Algathar Academy, I know they've kind of nerfed all those bosses down into the ground, but those bosses would have been made a lot easier. That and the first boss of Ruby Life Pools, where they just spawn a bunch of ads and there's like a lot of damage coming out at once. This would be really nice to be able to rely on spinning crane kick, but it just hasn't felt as good. I think there is like a reading issue. I think it doesn't read every single damage number that you're doing to a pack to convert that to healing. So I think that's kind of what's happening, because it is a lot of damage at once. You're hitting like 20 targets in some instances, and you just don't see 20 health numbers pulse up, which I'm fine with. I think that's kind of what was intended. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people have realized that the spinning crane kick change, we were all excited about it because in Shadowlands, we weren't having to do as much healing. We were just allowed to sit there and spinning crane kick, and now that was supposed to be our maintenance healing. Is like we could still do that, just sit there and spinning crane kick on big AoE packs and not really have to stop and heal. But it just hasn't really felt like that, which is, I guess it's fine, because our other rotation's given us a chance to play with it and have fun with it. So, but this is a good change. I'm glad they keep realizing that no one's really pressing spinning crane kick as much as they were in Shadowlands, and they're trying to incentivize that by adding more and more healing. So now, if I press Tiger Palm, I'm going to do 1.5 times healing. If I press spinning crane kick, I'll do 2.10. Oh my gosh, 2 times the damage and a little bit more. You guys know what I'm saying. So yeah, hopefully that number keeps growing. Hopefully these numbers start catching up to it. So yeah, so those are the changes. I'm sure you guys have felt it. We have felt great. What was wrong with us in the past is we would start to fall behind the damage. So like our upkeep healing, our maintenance healing, as some of the other YouTubers call it, we would start to kind of fall down. Like the health bars would drop to 90, and before we can get them to 100, they would drop to 85, and then before we can get them to 100, they would drop to 80. Like, and we would slowly start to fall behind the damage happening because our upkeep healing outside of our cooldowns wouldn't be enough. But now these changes, the the boosted vivifies, the boosted healing from ancient teachings now through damage. All of it is great, including the other healing being increased by 5%. So it's felt really good, and in rate, it's felt very good. You know, I'm actually catching up to the other healers. Still not quite there at the Resto Druid and Evoker level, and not even the Shaman level, honestly, but we're getting there, and these are great first changes. So that is everything. Those are the buffs, and I am so happy with these. I do think we could use more, but for now, these are perfect. So thank you so much, Blizzard, if you listen. Thank you guys for watching and putting up with my drama. So I care about this spec, and I want us to do well, and I want you guys to succeed and have a lot of fun playing this spec that I have a lot of fun playing. So if you like this video, make sure and hit like. If you dislike it, if you want us to get nerfed again, hit dislike, and you're weird. But for those of you still watching, make sure and hit subscribe. It's a click of a button, but it helps me out a ton, and it gets us closer to that 1,000 subscriber count. So that would be huge for me and huge for the channel. So it's a free way to support the channel. Make sure you do that on your way out. So I'm going to go work on a ranged Mistweaver guide. I want to see how all these buffs, I know all these won't really apply, but the boosted healing, we'll see if it can help. If you guys like that content, stick around, and hitting subscribe is a great way not to miss out on that video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.